How's it going, lads and lasses? I'm really excited about this figure review today. Today we have NECA's Wolfman. This is a figure I've been looking forward to since NECA announced that they were going to do Universal Monsters, and I'm just really excited for this. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start with articulation. So let's bring him in closer. So the neck here has two separate points of articulation. You have one ball joint at the base of the neck here, and then I'll actually pop the head off to show the second one, because there's another ball joint right there where it meets the torso. And it is actually still pretty limited by the shirt. I think Frankenstein's monster had a bit more range of motion out of his neck than the Wolfman does here. Arm swivels out about that far, and you can do a full 360 rotation with it. You don't get double jointed elbows with this. You get just a really deep single joint elbow, which it goes up far enough, but when you want to do side to side swivels like that, it doesn't quite lift up as high as I would like. You have hand swivel right there, 360-degree rotation. You get a bit of a hip rotation there, but it is also fairly limited by just the molding. There's something interesting about this figure, and it reminds me of the newer McFarlane ones. The shirt is actually separate from the torso. I can't tell if there's like some kind of torso swivel in there or not. If there is, it's severely limited and I can't really do anything with it, but there's definitely there's something under the shirt. I'd be curious to see if somebody gets like an extra one, if they cut that open and just see what's down there. So we got our standard leg swivel. We can actually get the Wolfman to do the splits there, and then there's just a little peg right there that allows you to do some rotation on the hip. We don't get double jointed knees, and you don't get a lot of motion out of that one, but you do actually get like a mid shin swivel, and I'll show you why that is here in a bit. And then you get ankle swivel and some pivoting right there. Okay, let's go and set him down. Alright, so let's get into the accessories here. So we have this alternate snarling head. I like just the default head a lot better than this one. I don't know, it just looks kind of weird, but the default head I think looks great. And then we have the regular Larry Talbot head in Lon Chaney Jr.'s likeness. And of course with that we get several alternate hands. You have two sort of I guess those would be relaxed hands. I don't know, they're a little bit more aggressive than relaxed. At least that one is. But then you also get this gripping hand, which you can use to grip the silver cane. Let's take a look at the detail on that. There's actually little bits of like a gold dry brush on there that adds a little bit of just a shine to it. It looks pretty cool. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up. And you also get alternate feet, and that is why there's like a mid shin swivel, because you can swap the feet out for these. You get a bear trap, and the bear trap actually does have articulation. You can't really set it down flat because you have these bolts there on the bottom, but yeah, it's still cool that they included that. Now, of course, the Wolfman kind of has weird feet because they sort of emulate wolves' feet. So he comes with this non-intrusive little disc stand that I really like. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on him right now. So he'll actually stand without that little disc stand on his own if you're okay with the toes kind of pointing upwards, because he'll stand on the heels. He just won't stand on the toes. But if you want him to stand on his toes, and you know, it's going to look better that way, of course, you can use this little disc stand. And what I like about it being small like that is that it doesn't get in the way of setups that I have where they're kind of a little bit closer. So like my Universal Monsters setup is pretty close because it's kind of a small shelf for the amount of figures I have on it. So this won't get in the way of that, and I really like that. That's really cool. So what are my final thoughts on this figure? It's not a perfect figure, but it is an awesome figure, and I think it is definitely the best representation of the Wolfman that we've gotten in this scale, and I'm super happy with it. Like I said, there's a couple of things that I wish they would have done a little better. I would have liked just double jointed elbows and knees. I know that doesn't look as good, but I prefer functionality over appearance when it comes to my action figures. You know, if I wanted something that looked perfect, I'd get a damn statue, is how I feel. But you know, those complaints aren't nearly enough to bring down the quality of the figure or how much I enjoy the figure personally. My only other complaint is that with that neck joint, because it's so stiff, it's likely that if you move it without kind of pushing down on it, it'll actually pop off pretty easily. Like, it's not very tight. So that's just something to keep in mind. Let's compare it to the only other real iteration of the Wolfman in this scale, or at least somewhat close to it, and that is Diamond Select's version of the Wolfman. Now, the Diamond Select version is actually taller. I'd say he's about an inch taller. Like the NECA one is probably 7 inches. Let's get the ruler out. So yeah, the NECA one is a little bit, it's like almost 7.5 inches tall, and that's standing fairly straight. The Diamond Select one nearly reaches 8 inches with it hunched over. It's a little past 7.5 with the knees bent like that. So the Diamond Select one is abnormally tall, but that's what you get with Diamond Select. Their scales are a little all over the place. Like, they'll go from like 6.5 to 8 inches. I didn't collect a lot of their Universal Monsters figures because none of them really did anything for me, especially their Dracula. You know, it was clear they couldn't get Bela Lugosi's license because his family really puts a death grip on his likeness. And so at the time, they weren't giving it out as frequently as they do now. And also, it just wasn't very articulated. I thought about maybe getting it to customize it and give it custom articulation, but it just seemed like too much work. So the only one I really liked was their Wolfman, because it had pretty cool articulation. And I do still really like that figure, but NECA's is definitely the superior one. It's more accurate, the colors are more accurate. Yeah, the colors in a black and white movie. But it looks cleaner. The sculpt looks better. I also forgot to mention this huge wall of text on the back of the Diamond Select figure. So keep that in mind. But the Diamond Select one is still pretty cool. But I would definitely recommend the NECA one over the Diamond Select one for the reasons of it's closer to the screen accurate portrayal of the Wolfman, and it's obviously going to be easier to get. The Diamond Select one has been out for years now. And another thing to note is that I almost didn't bring the Diamond Select one out to compare because anytime I move him, it takes months of adjustments to get him to stop falling over because that stand isn't worth a damn. Whereas with this NECA one, I don't even need, like I said, I don't even need that little disc stand if I'm okay with his toes pointing upward. So that's definitely a plus on the NECA side, as he's a lot easier to stand and pose. But that's about everything there is to say about the figure. You know, you can get him. I got him off of Amazon. When you're going on Amazon, you want to be careful. You want to make sure, because Amazon will actually tell you where the seller is now. So look through all the sellers. You want to pick one who's probably shipping through Amazon. If you don't, you want to make sure they have a pretty high rating. 95% is about where I'd say that's the sweet spot on Amazon, is 95% positive rating with at least 1,000 reviews, and you're pretty good to go if you go by those rules. That's the only place where I've really seen him right now. There are listings on Big Bad Toy Store, and he'll probably show up on NECA's eBay and Amazon store at some point. That's where it's going to be the most expensive, though. So, yeah, just look through the sellers on Amazon, and you'll probably find a good one. You know, you just want to make sure that you're not accidentally getting a bootleg, so you have to be cautious. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a good one. I can't wait for NECA to make Dracula. That one looks so cool. And I'll see you guys next time.